Good morning and welcome to Flight Lines, the stories behind the stories. And today's kind of a special podcast for me personally because um, I'm reflecting back 35, 34 years ago when I was diagnosed with colon cancer and I went through the operation for a resection and all the other things that happened with that. But during my recovery, which was extensive and rather involved, it was recommended to me that I take some time to get a deep tissue massage on a regular basis to be able to release the toxins from the chemotherapy and also give me a bit of a relaxation in dealing with the changes in my life that I was going through. And since that time, 34 years ago, I have made it a regular part of my health maintenance to have a deep tissue massage on a regular basis. And I've been through a number of different masseuses, if that's the right term you want to have. But I want to introduce the person who has helped me a great deal in my health maintenance, and that's Ashley Tinker. Good morning.
Hi,
Good
good
morning,
morning.
Ashley. And she's a professional massage therapist, and we've worked together on a number of different things in regards to my wellness and my health. And over the last year and a half, I've lost 70 pounds. I'm doing better health wise than I ever have. And a lot of it's to do with the regular things that I do in addition to the massage. And one of the things I wanted to help clarify today with Ashley is what massage is and what it's not. And I think, unfortunately, there's a lot of people that have a misconception about what it is, whether it's a luxury or it's something else, but it's a very important part of someone's health maintenance. So we're going to
Mhm.
explore that. So, getting right to it, we've known each other for quite a long time now, uh, almost 10 years, maybe a little bit more than that.
Mhm.
But when I look back on it, and I've gotten to know you pretty well, what started you in massage therapy? I mean, you could have done anything,
Mhm.
but what was the trigger? How did it happen?
Well, honestly, that was just me. Am I too close?
You know, you're fine.
Okay. That was a car crash. When I was 16 years old, I had a car crash, and the chiropractor that I had went to go see because I had gotten whiplash in my neck just had me, do massage on my neck before a chiropractic adjustment. And um, I just fell in love with this woman's office. Like, she
Wow.
had, like, soft music and she had dimmed lights, and I'm like, "This is great." I think I was 16. I said, "This was great, just a great office to go to." And so that was the seed that was planted.
Sure.
And then also looking into it, it was only 18 more months of school versus, like, 4 more years. So any senior is not interested in going back to school for a long time. So that was honestly where it started.
Wow. So you went and got certified. What other types of I know you're certified as a massage
Yeah.
therapist, but there's also a number of other things that you continue education,
Yeah,
if you
that's
wanna
right.
call it that way. What other things did you investigate?
Well, so for as a massage therapist, you have to take that NBLEX test to like pass it, and then you become a therapist. And then every 2 years, so every odd year, you have to do 24 hours of continuing education. And so 12 of those hours has to be online. Um, and then 12 of those has to be in person. So you can kind of the
Wow.
12 hours, some of them, like the 12 that are required are like required, but then you get the other 12 plus some, you could do more of whatever you choose. And so for me, I've done pregnancy. I'm a certified medical massage practitioner. I've done lymphatic drainage. We did cupping and KT taping. And gosh, there's so many lymphatic drainage. I think I said that already. I did fascial therapy. Yeah. And so every year I'm really interested in doing like a TMJ class where you like use a glove and you go up inside the mouth and do that. So I'm really interested in that because a lot of people struggle with like a lot of tension in their jaw.
Sure.
Um, I'm looking that's gonna be probably the next certification. But yeah,
Well, it's interesting.
stretching.
It just occurred to me there's a parallel with being a pilot because every 2 years,
Yeah,
you need to do a biannual review, which is a flight exam and also a a cognitive or information on the rules and that sort of thing. Wow.
yeah,
But all these types of things, and one of the things, folks, that's happened to me going through this, as I'm being worked on, I ask a lot of questions.
yeah.
Okay, like, "What's this muscle? What's that tendon?" And when I was in college, I had some roommates who were phys ed majors, and they would be sitting on the couch in our apartment, touching different parts of their body as they had the Gray's Anatomy book open in front of them, figuring out where everything was and how everything was connected.
Mhm.
Now, when you look at massage and the applications of it, who are candidates? Who are people that can benefit from
Oh
this
my
type
gosh.
of?
Everyone. Literally everyone. My youngest, well, besides my daughter, I've worked on her since she was an infant, was 7 years old.
Wow.
I mean, you gotta think about the body as a whole, so not just, I don't know, a lot of people, again, back to the luxury, a lot of people think of massage as a gift of relaxation, but it's just so much more than that. I think of massage in my practice as like mind, body, spirit. And so of all ages, we have the ability to be like proactive and preventative to injury. So if I could get in on like middle school, high school kids, I would love that industry most because I could prevent their 30s and 40s of all the things, if I was able to love on them now. Um, but I know it's pricey too, so that's challenging. But I do see insurance coming around to like start taking care of it and paying for it, and hopefully in my lifetime. But people who have injuries, people who have tension, stress, who doesn't have that?
Yeah.
Um, moms, athletes, anybody recovering from a surgery. I have a friend who is like certified in post surgery lymphatic drainage locally, but I can work on people who, have hip replacements, knee replacements, shoulder injuries. I'm working on one guy with a frozen shoulder. Like we've been working on that pretty consistently. And then I've got the moms who just want to relax and they just want to have, quiet the noise of the world for an hour and we get to just calm her nervous system down, and then your body and your brain, they get to talk to each other when you quiet everything down. So again, back to that like mind, body, spirit is what my practice is all about.
Well, and again, athletes have used this for a long time.
Yeah.
I reflect back when I was almost a half century ago of being a competitive swimmer in college, and
Mhm.
and I wished I had known about it then
Yeah.
because I remember being
Sure.
so tight
Sure. Sure.
after workouts and meets and things. But you hit on something there when you said you love on the people. But I think your practice
Mhm.
is more than just how should I phrase this? More than just a connection with people. You're doing, I would say, a much deeper connection with folks.
Mhm.
It's your passion. It's your mission. Explain that a little bit.
Absolutely. Yes. I think of my company in my practice as my healing ministry. So I love the Lord, and anybody that knows me knows I love the Lord, and I get to touch people's bodies all day long. And my love language is physical touch anyway, so I'm loving, literally loving on people. And that's with intention. So people feel that and they just genuinely leave feeling better. Not to mention the ache or pain is gone, but like just allowing, me to serve you, you be, submissive, and you're in a safe space and you trust me and your body gets to just relax and not be in that fight or flight that constantly our bodies are in. You get to just be at my space. And so when you're finished there, you just leave, and I'm loving you. Like you're not just a number at my practice. I love you. I care about you and you feel that. And I think that's what sets my practice apart.
Well, one of the things that you just said that I had, and I still have to work on it. When you start stretching me out, there's a natural tendency for my body to say, "Hey,
Yeah.
stop."
Yeah.
That hurts, but it's a good hurt
Yeah.
because I've learned to say, "Okay, I'm just going to let it go," and you'll feel, and you feel when it's the right amount,
That's right.
and the old adage, "No pain, no gain." I mean, it's somewhat that way, but, for me to get fully stretched and to do the things we need to do to release some of the things, and I've been riding my mountain bike now. I've got over 2,100 miles on it, so I've
Yeah.
put a lot of things on my calf and thigh muscles, and that's where you've worked mostly is to loosen that up.
Right.
And if I don't let you do that, if I don't
Yeah.
trust that you're gonna be able to do what's necessary to release the tension and the binding of those tendons and muscles, then we're not getting anywhere. But
I agree with that. And so for anybody who has never had massage or who would be seeing me for the first time, I wouldn't typically stretch you on our first date together because that is me just us introducing each other. So me getting introduced to your tissues, figuring out what kind of
Yeah.
pressure you like that's why the relationships gets built because I like to, get to know your body. Like you mentioned, once you, find your therapist and they know your body, you get better results. And I take, really good notes too, because I pay attention to things like that. Like, and that we'll just work our way up. Every session that I do is customizable and not every two are the same.
Yeah.
And so typically if we start off at 30 minutes up to 2 hours, I'm listening to your body and I'm helping you to calm down your nervous system. You're relaxing, you're not fighting me. And if you do fight me, that's the body speaking too. So sometimes I'm like, okay, that was a little too much because, you know, we as a therapist, I can feel the tension, but I can't feel your pain. Do you know?
Yeah.
So like if there's that's why communicating is also important. And I just once we do that, the session, your results are better,
Yeah. Well,
you know?
like I said, I've been doing this for almost 35 years. And when I first came down from Wisconsin, I went through a number of different people, and I found a young lady in Lake Placid, Bonnie Mullins, and went to her for a number of years.
Yeah.
But then she decided to move, and I remember, and she was uh, a small little girl. I mean, she didn't weigh more than 95 pounds or 100,
Tiny.
but she could turn me into a pretzel, but she got to know my body.
Yeah.
And then I went through a number of other therapists after that. And it wasn't until I found you at the YMCA.
Back in the day.
Yes. And I remember that first session and I said, oh my, I found the person because I felt it. Not only did I feel what you were doing mechanically to me, but I felt that feeling of you. I don't know how to explain it, but
Caring about you, maybe?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it was real. And we've been together doing this thing for better part of 10 years now.
Yeah.
Pretty exciting. So, folks, I encourage you to think about what this is and what it means to have a health maintenance
Mhm.
plan. And that's the key thing. We are in control of our bodies, our environment, our attitudes. And these series of podcasts, I've always tried to leave you with something that you can take away, some sort of a challenge for you to act on. And this is my challenge to you all who's thinking about this. I went through a trauma with the surgery and the cancer. I had stage 3 going on 4. I wasn't supposed to survive. By the grace of God, I'm here. But having that process of understanding what you need to do to be healthy, and that's where you have made such an impact on my life. So what recommendations would you have for someone who's going to take charge of their health and combine a number of things, including the massage therapy, to have a more healthful living and more
Yeah.
healthful life? What would you recommend?
Okay, so I would just straight from my heart, I would tell you that for maintenance of your body, you should be getting a massage. And I wish we could change the word massage because so many people think of that as like again a luxury, but it's therapeutic manipulation. It's removal of toxic.
Yeah.
Well, I say toxins, but
Well, I think
metabolic waste.
physical therapy would be a good analogy.
Yeah, manipulation of the tissues, all the things. But I would say you should be doing it at least once a month. I say like every 4 to 6 weeks. So 10 to 12 massages a year. If you can, and I have so many clients who they book out for the entire year because they're prioritizing themselves. That makes me
I
so
have.
happy.
Yeah.
Just because I'm like, you are putting yourself first. And when you take care of your body, and people who are experiencing it are the ones making the choices because they're like, I don't want to be without it. I'm sleeping better.
Yeah.
I'm less irritable. I feel better. Not to mention mobility. Like the fascia that I work on, that's again another thing think sets my practice apart. The fascia is this spider webby connective tissue that like holds everything together. And when I can like pull and stretch and manipulate that, you think about the body like pathways. You've got blood flow, oxygen, capillaries. Everything is just the nervous system. Everything is just like firing and it's on like little roadways. I know that might sound strange, but whenever I can pull
Yeah.
and stretch, it just helps things to flow better. So then you've got better, mental clarity. You're not so foggy and during the day. And I don't know, there's so many benefits of massage and everybody's benefits are a little different. But if you can just take and be proactive versus reactive. I have so many people that I see, well, that just had an injury and they need to get in tomorrow. And I'm like, that's not going to work because I'm
Yeah.
booked out pretty far. But if you were on my schedule regularly, if something were to happen, I'm there to love on you and help you with the healing process. So that would be it for massage. I would say every 4 to 6, weeks would be wonderful. And then this is just my thing, but I would say pay attention to what we're addicted to right now in America is salt and sugar. It's
Yeah.
in everything. So if we can be cautious and aware of our sugar and salt intake, so much will change. So much will change. So those are my
Well, that
2.
that was
Those are
the
my
key
2.
key to my losing 70 pounds was
It's huge.
getting cutting sugar, minimizing the salt, but dealing with protein,
Yeah,
but also, avoiding processed foods.
that's right. Fast food, it's so convenient.
Everything is there. We bought an air fryer, some years ago, and that's been a great boon. And just changing the way you consume things and
Yeah.
what you eat.
Well, it's
Uh,
being intentional, right? I
yeah,
think society has already conditioned us. We again so busy, busy, busy. That's why when I say at my practice, we're quieting the noise of the world for as long as your session is. And it's just being intentional is so powerful because again, we all have busy lives and it's easier to just go through the fast food real quick or order DoorDash or something. But if we're intentional, whatever day it is that we do have time to breathe and we set ourselves up for success for the rest of the week by
absolutely.
whether it's meal prepping or getting groceries that you're going to, whatever it is, just being intentional. You are in control of your body. This is, and again, back to my spirit, this is your temple. Take care of it. My friend usually says a tune up, right? Like a car. You're going to be getting your oil changed and your tires rotated and you got to put gas in it. So think of your body as the same. You've got to give it a tune up, give your body a tune up and your nervous system a reset.
Well, it just occurred to me. One of the things that I've noticed is when I go out to eat, which isn't all that often, but when I do, one of my things that I wind up doing is one of the first things I ask for is a to-go
A to
box
go box.
because I don't eat
Welcome to America.
I don't eat the and I can't eat the full
Over portion.
portion
Yeah.
because it's
Huge.
too much, and so I went out to breakfast, yesterday or Friday with some friends that, I've been friends with, guys I used to ride motorcycles with, and we've been getting together for a Friday breakfast for about 25 years,
Wonderful.
and I ordered a veggie omelet, you know, healthful protein, veggies, and it wasn't huge, but I only could eat half of it.
Yeah.
So I took the other half and I had it for lunch.
Wonderful.
I
Listen to
mean,
your body.
it's that whole way you deal with things now. So as we kind of wrap this up, and folks, I encourage you, one to link up with Ashley and her practice if you can find an open spot somewhere.
And if you can't,
But
get in with me.
she's got some people that
Yes,
she can recommend.
absolutely. I would love to just get you loved on, even if it's not by me.
And again, it's not a luxury. It's not any kind of a sexual thing. It's just it's maintenance. I I call it physical therapy. And when I was with the school board, there was a thing actually at the college too. There was a thing called a flex account where you could
Yeah.
offset medical and prescriptions and that sort of thing. And I had my general practitioner recognize and diagnose or write a prescription for massage
Yeah.
because she realized the value of what it was doing for me physically
Huge.
after the cancer recovery. And so for a number of years, when I was working for the school board or working for the college, I had that luxury. Now it's out of my back pocket, which is fine. I don't,
You're prioritizing it.
it's prioritized, and again, it's all personal choice of what we feel we want to do. Um, and this particular podcast, I feel is important because in the messages that I've shared and a number of different things we've done and covered a wide range of topics in the flight lines, the stories behind the stories. Um, the story behind massage is that it's a much, and excuse the pun, but it's a much deeper uh, way of going about getting healthy.
That's right.
And from my personal point of view, it's one of a number of things that we're doing, Becky and I are doing, and Becky's also a client, to become healthier. I mean, I'm 77 and I'm on the back end of my time here on the orb around the sun. And I want to be able to enjoy that as much as I can for as
Mhm.
long as I can.
That's right.
And if I had not made the changes about a year and a half to 2 years ago that I did, I don't think my life would have been all that long. Now I'm gonna be around for a while, folks. That's my plan, and that's the way I feel, and I often heard, people look at me and I tell them I'm 77, they say, "Wow, that you look better than 77," and I don't know if that's true or not, but I feel better. And also, one of the things I've realized is that when we get to the age that I am, you have to be honest about yourself. You know, you have to be honest about what you need to maintain, what you eat, and that sort of thing. Because my metabolism left me many years ago that I used to have when I was in college and competing. And so I just can't eat the same stuff I used to enjoy, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But the other thing I realized, and this was after I did something for you when I built the deck on your
Mhm.
house. Um, I'm only good for a half day now.
Yeah.
You know,
But that's listening to your body.
that's
That's
it exactly,
huge.
you
I'm
know,
so
and
proud of you.
again, being honest with what you need to maintain your health. And I would suggest that all of you take an honest inventory and be able to set what is prioritized in your life. And I'm just going to go back to a podcast I did, and you all can go to the website for flightlines.com, flightlinestories.com, and you'll find the website and the podcast that I did. But I did a thing on setting priorities. And I'm just going to give you an example of what we did. And it's next week is the celebration of our country, 250 years.
Mhm.
And there are two
Happy
things that,
birthday, America.
yeah, absolutely. And there's two things. In 1776, July 4th, we made the Declaration of Independence. We said, this is what we want. You know, we want to leave England and we want, oh, now the camera's following me. Sorry about that. I'll lean over here and
I'm
it'll
scooted.
get both of us. But anyway, I, July 4th, important day. But the other one is September 17th, 1787. That's when the Constitution was ratified. In other words, that day we decided how we were going to do it. And so I was doing a consulting program with a major corporation, a retail corporation, and I did a thing on time management and their priorities. And I had them come into the session and they brought their to-do list on their BlackBerry or legal pad, whatever they had. And I got them talking about some things and I got off of that. And then I said, all right, I want you to identify the five most important things in your life. And they usually came into faith, family, career, things like that. But faith and family were right up there. And so then, we talked about those things for a moment or two, and then I said, "All right, here's the deal. Take out your to-do list today and tell me if there's anything on that to-do list that represents your highest priorities." And 95% of the time, there wasn't one thing on that list that supported what they said was important.
Mm,
Then I got right in their face and I said, you yahoos deserve what you get because you're in charge of your day and now you're complaining and hired me to help sort this out and get a balance, but it's your own fault. Unless you act on those priorities on a regular basis, you're going to be lost. They're all
mm.
looking at me like no one. And I was dealing with the CEO of the company and the head people. I mean, they weren't being used to talk to like that. Didn't bother me much. But then I said, here's the solution. You're going to write your own constitution. You're going to write down the three or four big things in your life that are important. And I want you to write down four or five things that you can do on a regular basis that support that priority. And then I'll check back in a couple weeks. Well, I was going back to the company and I went to the corporate offices and the senior vice president, second in charge of the company, called me into her office. She says, come on in, John, I need to talk to you and please shut the door. And I sat down across her aircraft carrier sized desk and she leaned in and she said, I'm leaving the company and it's all your fault. I'm going, oh God, I mean, you're only good as your last contract, right? When you're an independent contractor. And she saw the expression on my face, the color drained, and she started laughing. And then she said, "Do you remember the Constitution you had us write?" And I said, "Yeah, I know that." She says, "Well, I wrote mine, and I gave it some real deep thought, and I've decided, I'm gonna leave the company and open up what I really wanna do is a bed and breakfast in La Crosse, Wisconsin." And that's what she did. And
Mm.
when you get honest with yourself and you identify what's important, and then you have the courage and the discipline to act on those things on a regular basis, the results are incredible. So, my point in sharing with all of you today with Ashley, um, is to be honest with yourself and understand what you need to maintain your health, and take action on it, and take action on those other priorities in your life. So, little homework assignment for all of you out there: write down those 4 or 5 things that are important, and then take a look at how often you're dealing with those things on a regular basis. And my faith, my family, my health are the top 3 things in my life, and I act on those every day. I sit down and I plan. Um, I read scripture first thing before I check anything else. And then I text you to tell you how much I appreciate you, which is a good way to start the day in a positive way. Um, and then I can start to move through the day with a better feeling about who I am and what I'm going to do and with a purpose. And that's why the flight lines with the stories behind the stories and our new particular emphasis, which is the community engagement project, where we're working with people in the community to find out what they can add to our lives and the stories behind their stories. And hopefully it'll bring some interest and some value to you out there. So thanks for being here this
Thank
morning.
you for having me.
She was nervous that I wasn't we were gonna cover some things,
I'm
but
not nervous anymore.
I know, you're doing great. But, thanks for tuning in, and you want to find out more about what we're doing with Flight Lines of Stories Behind the Stories, go to our website, flightlinestories.com. That's the place where everything is. Um, there's some amazing podcasts coming up. I've got one about the 250 years celebration and the next 250 coming out this Friday. There's an article on it that'll be in the newspaper. Then we've got a podcast coming up on artificial intelligence, what it is, what it is not, how it affects our lives. And then we're also going to do one about a French company that has their U.S. headquarters here at Sebring, and they'll be building a manufacturing facility, Duke Propeller, which makes composite propellers and rotors for rotorcraft aircraft. Those are some of the things that are coming up. And this podcast will be accompanied with an article that'll come out on the Friday when this is broadcast. So thanks again for joining us. Have a great day, and,
Bye.
and God bless.